Well, good morning. Elon Musk is at a conference this morning, and there's quite a bit of news coming out of that conference. Let's start with this one. Elon is quoted as saying, cost of solar power is extremely low. He says the cost of solar power has dropped dramatically. If you look at the cost of solar power 5 years or 10 years ago, it would seem cost prohibitive. And the cost of battery storage of electricity has dropped by a factor of 10 in the past year. The studies that were done in times past when batteries were expensive and solar power was very expensive. I would encourage everyone to take another look at the cost of solar combined with batteries, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. In another part of the speech, he says, I'm quite optimistic about the future. No kidding, Elon. We should never be complacent, however. I do think that if we're not complacent and entitled, the future will be great for the world. I think we're heading towards a bright future overall. Well, that sure all sounds like Elon, huh? He also went on to say, and I don't have a lot of the details on this yet, but I'll report later tonight what he said with regard to water desalination. He said, basically, look, when you combine solar and batteries and plentiful water, obviously, even though you need to desalinate it in order to get advantage of it. He's been talking about this for quite a long time now, but he's just done this at this water conference. I wonder if there's any chance that Elon in some way will get involved in the future of desalination in order to help various countries do better with regard to their water needs. Anyway, I'm super interested in whether that's any part of his future plan. Okay, then Elon Musk is replying to Sawyer Merritt this morning. He says the rear portion of the factory, meaning the factory in Austin, the rear portion of the factory extension, as you know, they've been adding on to what's already one of the biggest factories in the world. He says that will be he says the part furthest away from the glass, so the opposite end of the building, will be a super dense, water-cooled supercomputer cluster. So that confirms what we've already really all been talking about. I think Brian White started talking about this months ago. Anyway, but that's been confirmed. And then this from James Catt this morning. He has usually been the most accurate with regard to production numbers out of Tesla. And he says Shanghai is currently operating at about 70% capacity. Now, keep in mind, 80% capacity is kind of ideal. If you can do 85 or 90%, that's really crazy. Usually can't be sustained. But he says this, he says, interesting. He goes on to say, interested to see May results because of all the layoffs. So this is why I believe this particular number right here, just this information about the total production going on in Shanghai right now, I believe is why Tesla is down $3 this morning. I'll take another look later. Maybe it will be reviving because there's also, as you'll see in a couple of minutes, some pretty, I think, really good news about Tesla. Okay, let's go on. Forbes says used Tesla Model Y sales are surging while prices keep falling. Now is a good time to buy a newer used EV. Inventory is up, sending prices down, said Rebecca Lindlow, Cars Commerce Senior Director of Industry Data Insights. Man, she got a big title, or at least a long title. She says, used 2021 Model Y started about $30,000 on Tesla's website as of May 2024. Those with lower mileage typically fall into the $32,000 to $36,000 price range. Overall, Tesla's used car demand continues to hold strong year over year, plus 40%, and year to date, plus 32%. With the highest demand for the used Model Y, 119% year over year and 65% year to date. Lynn Land said, referring to year over year and year to date, this is likely due to the continued price slashing of new Model Y, she said. This price adjustment is causing a shift for used vehicles, while the average price for used Model Ys has dropped year over year and year to date by 32% and 12%, respectively. She goes on to say, overall market trends driving price drops. The EV market is seeing a significant increase in both new 100% year over year and used 42% year over year inventory. This has led to some oversupply, leading to a 20% drop in used EV prices year over year. This price adjustment, along with government incentives for new and used EVs aims to stimulate demand in a segment that is still growing. We estimate new EV sales grew 27% year over year in Q1 2024, excluding Teslas as they don't report U.S. specific sales. Used EV demand is up 45% year over year, and the drop in used EV prices is enhancing their appeal amid cost-conscious consumer behavior. All right, so this is, okay, how do I say this? As you know, I'm a big fan of talking about what I call the boom bust. Everybody calls boom bust. But in other words, I've kind of lived through a bunch of these in the bicycle industry. I think I understand them better than most. And what we've seen here is a lot of FUD by the news media talking about, oh, you no longer get a good deal. Teslas are no longer a good deal, and EVs are no longer a good deal because you can't get your price. You have way too much depreciation on the vehicle compared to when you bought it. Well, this is all part of the boom bust. You guys know this already. What am I telling you? But the reality is that is now impacting used car sales in a very dramatic way. What is that going to do? That's going to dry up inventory, and used car prices are going to start picking up again. And actually, that's also going to help new car sales, because right now used car sales are a good deal, which means some people are opting for a used Tesla or used EV rather than a new one. So all of this stuff is starting to balance out now. We're probably looking at less than a year before the overall economy will have recovered from the boom bust, and we can look at normal sales again. So I look at this as good news for Tesla, maybe not offsetting the sad sales in Shanghai right now, but we'll talk about that a little more in a minute too. All right, this from Reuters. Tesla is working to appease. This was AJ blew my mind this morning. He called this a hit piece. I think this is the best news of the day, although again, I don't think a lot of people are going to get it. Tesla is working to appease some European leasing companies after the automaker's repeated retail price cuts tanked their fleet's values, and its slow service and expensive repairs alienated their corporate customers. All right, so this is out of it, in Europe, but this is also a big deal in terms of, as we know, the rental companies like Hertz in the United States. The efforts include unofficial discounts on purchases of new cars if they are in stock, and efforts to address widespread service repair and ordering complaints after years in which fleet managers and leasing firms say Tesla ignored their problems. This is according to Reuters interviews with 9 executives from major leasing and rental car firms, along with about a dozen corporate fleet managers. Now, keep in mind that in Germany and in England, a large percentage of the cars in those countries, especially the cars that Tesla, the price range that Tesla sells in, are going to companies. Companies buy them and provide them as part of the package to their employees. So this is very, very important at least in England and Germany. I'm not sure about the other countries. But this is what I've been talking about. I mean, like they say, the clock is right twice a day, but I've been talking about this. How long? For those of you who follow, put it in the comments below. When was the first time probably right after Hertz's announcement that they were getting out, or, kind of getting out of the EV business. Their mistake was not a mistake. The president got fired for no reason. He couldn't have known. Well, he could have. I guess you could look at the reality of boom busts and go, okay, there was no supply. We were buying cars when there was no supply. And then we're selling cars when there's lots of supply. What's going to happen? I don't know. I mean, Econ 101, right? So at the time I said, I don't blame Hertz. I did blame Tesla. And if you go back and look at the video, you're going to see that this is what I said. I said Tesla needs to go in there and make deals with these fleet companies. He needs to make deals with these rental companies, these leasing companies. He needs to mollify them with some deals on the cars, and he's in a perfect position to do so. And then they need to go in and they need to talk about some of these service issues, and with Hertz and rental companies, also with regard to how to train people that are renting the car for renting an electric car, an EV, a car with different methods of operation. needs to have some way to train people better when they get in the vehicle. So hopefully those are now being addressed. They need to listen to me. Maybe they did. All right, Tesla's retail price, the article goes on to say Tesla's retail price cuts aim to bolster sales in response to softening electric vehicle demand globally and rising competition, especially from Chinese EV makers such as BYD. But that damaged the bottom lines of its biggest customers in Europe, where fleet purchases represent nearly half, oh, there you go, of all auto sales. Lease purchases lease purchases represent half of auto sales. Leasing companies buy new cars and arrange leases calculated on how much they believe they can sell them for at the end of the lease, obviously. Sudden drops in price undercut those residual values, costing them money. There's nothing worse than continuously dropping the value of fleet buyers' assets, said Richard Newman. Of course, that's true. Tesla is now actively telling our members, we can give you discounts and compensate you. But Tesla's residuals have dropped so fast, I'm not sure the discounts they're offering are enough. Well, deal with it then. Work on it. So finally, the article says Tesla's falling resale values and tensions with fleet customers are known, but its damage control campaign to address them has not been previously reported. A top executive at a large European car leasing firm who spoke on condition of anonymity, because he did not have permission to comment publicly on Tesla, said that starting in mid-2023, Tesla offered unofficial end-of-quarter discounts on its Model 3 and Model Y up to 2,000 euros for the leasing company. Thank you, Tesla. Exciting to hear that you're doing that. This should be a reason for Tesla stock to be up today, along with those used car numbers that I reported earlier. But these are more nuanced and subtle kinds of things that the street probably is not picking up on. All right, this is Randy Kirk, by the way. Hit the like, the subscribe, the notify button. Why hit the notify button? Because Brian White will be back. So yesterday, Larry Goldberg was back, and you showed your appreciation in the comments, talking about how wonderful it was to have Larry back. Well, having Brian White back is going to be even funnier. I mean, it's going to be more. Anyway, it's going to be great to have Brian White back as well. All right. Got a new Patreon member this morning. Thank you, Martin L., for joining up. And please, for those of you who would like to help me produce this product, if you're getting something out of it, getting some value, please go down in the information below in the description, and easy. You just click the link, boom, you're right over to Patreon, and you can sign up, and that would be a great thing. All right, from the Kobe letter this morning, just in, gold prices rise to new record high, $24.50, up. Are you ready for this? 23% in 3 months. Who's been talking about this? Oh, I don't know. Somebody, I'm not sure. He says gold prices are up 35% since October. I've been talking about it since October, even outperforming the S&P's gain of 29%. Now, gold's a little, commodities is a whole different game, and many of you, including me, I've never invested in commodities. Well, okay, I bought some silver a million years ago. But silver is also up dramatically, okay, in that same period. In fact, over the last 4 years, silver is beating gold last time I checked. That may no longer be true, but silver this morning is back up. We'll talk about that in a second. Okay, here we go. According to Adam Taggart, he goes by the handle on X, Menlo Bear, Menlobear. He says, well, it took over a decade, but silver is finally back over $30 an ounce. However, I looked it up again, and other than a short-term spike around 2012, this is also a historic high point for silver. So I think there was something going on with that 2012. Wasn't there some kind of, I forget. It seems to me, we need to look up the history on that. Let me know in the comments below. It seems to me there was somebody manipulating the market back then. That spike was not necessarily based on economics or anything else. Let me know in the comments. My memory's a little short on that one. All right. I am very wary on this channel, and I don't do this. I'm very wary of talking about startup companies with brand new tech. There are other YouTubers who talk about every new tech that comes out, and 90% of the stuff never even gets out of the lab. So I'm very nervous about reporting on it. However, I've been hearing a lot about better power lines, and this article appeared in Bloomberg today. The green energy transition has been stymied by a lack of long-haul transmission lines to carry clean power. I don't care if it's clean power or not clean power. We have a shortage of power lines, okay? And the infrastructure, people are talking about the extreme high cost and the difficulty of putting up dramatic amounts of additional power lines. I believe it was Larry Goldberg. I think it was Larry Goldberg, but it might have been Brian Wong, talked about on my channel, I'd say 6-8 months ago, was talking about the one of the best ways to solve our problem of shortages of electricity right now would be to have much better cable, much better transmit, what would you call it, efficiency, by just replacing what we have now with better lines. And talking about some of the breakthroughs that were happening. Anyway, the article goes on to say the most discussed option is building more transmission projects, but startup TS Conductor Corp, the name of the company is TS Conductor Corp, says the key to addressing the shortfall isn't just adding lines to the grid, it's installing better ones that can deliver more electricity and potentially lower costs. The Huntington Beach, California-based company, which was recognized as Bloomberg's NEF Pioneer this week, has developed a power cable that weighs less and can carry more electricity than the standard wires that have been used for more than a century. While lining up permits and approvals to build new transmission projects can take years, TS Conductor contends utilities can boost capacity today by replacing existing tower wires with this product. Tests are already underway, including by the TVA, the Tennessee Valley Authority. If this turns out to be true, it could radically alter the shortages being predicted by Elon and others. This is an equity play. Potentially, I don't know. I didn't look it up to see if these guys are traded. If maybe there'll be an IPO sometime in the future. But anyway, not investment advice. This is the kind of stuff I love to see and potentially get in at the ground floor. All right, so let's take a look at where the markets are right now. We will start with Tesla, which was down $3 last time I checked, after actually being up in the pre-market, now down $3.28. You got the Dow Jones down 37, NASDAQ up 108. Why would that be? Oh, NVIDIA's up. S&P 500 up 1517. You've got the rest of the Magnificent Seven up, except for Meta, which continues to have difficulty going down again, $2 this morning. But NVIDIA is up 23 in anticipation of, I believe it's their Wednesday earnings report. Microsoft also up nicely this morning. The Magnificent Seven almost all down this morning, as not necessarily because of entirely, but you do have bonds going up this morning. We'll take a look at that in just a second. Now Tesla is back only down less than 3 at $2.93. All right, let's go look at those bonds. We have got bonds. We've got up 2.7 on the 10-year at $4.447%. You've got the 2-year up 1.6% at 4.841, and you've got the 2-month up just 0.2 of 1 basis point. So, all right, let's go in and take a look at oil. You have got oil this morning up 0.41, okay, and Brent up 0.39. So the Iranian president who died yesterday in that helicopter crash, not apparently really affecting markets this morning. Some people thought there might be some question of unrest in Iran. Things could, get a little crazy. There was celebrations in Iran over the death of this individual who's known to be a mass murderer. And then we got natural gas up more, 4.19% at $2.73, the all-time high, I believe. No, again, not all-time high. The oil and gas industry said they wanted to see it at 235, and now it's at 273. They have to be excited. Why is natural gas? I need to look that up. Why is natural gas all of a sudden gone up $1 in a very, very short period of time? Need to find out more about that. Okay, gold up $3.50 this morning, $2,420. So that is an all-time high. We've got silver up 1.63% at $31.77. Copper up another 0.14% at way over $5, $5 almost and 6 cents. That is an all-time high. I looked it up this morning. The dollar is flat this morning. Bitcoin is up 706, that's 66,890. And that covers all of the things that we cover in the morning, except for going back and taking one last look at Tesla, back up just over, down, but back. Okay. Anyway, it's down $3.08. So please hit the like button and all that kind of stuff. And then later this morning, we will have Brian White on. He is in Germany right now, and he has lots of cool stuff to report on from Germany. Also, if you missed the Larry Goldberg program yesterday, it was a big success. It was huge. It was just an amazing hour with Larry. Please see the card right here to go back and check that out. So until we visit later today with Brian and then with Good News Monday, will Tesla be in the green by the end of the day? Good question. I don't have a call on that one. If I had a call, I'd make it, right? All right. It's been great talking to you.